Welcome to the Vegas Insider channel here on YouTube as we look ahead to SEC football coming up on Halloween this Saturday. Kevin Rogers and Brian Edwards with you. And Brian continues to dominate in these videos. 13-4 so far on the season. He was 2-1 last week. He hit Alabama first half against Tennessee, another easy win for the Crimson Tide. Also had Boston College in their blowout win over Georgia Tech. And the lone loser was Air Force in the late night game against San Jose State. But Brian continues to roll in these videos. 3 SEC plays coming up for this Saturday as we bring Brian in. And we will begin with Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss as they're taking on Vanderbilt. The Rebels, a 16-point favorite here. We'll see if they can get off the schneid against the winless Commodores, Brian.
Yeah, and I think they will. I think this is a nice get-right game. Ole Miss has actually not been a double-digit road favorite since losing outright to Memphis in 2015. But I think none of those historic stats apply here because I'm not going to say we're totally just fading Vanderbilt because, look, Ole Miss's 1-5 straight-up record is very misleading. They gave Alabama the toughest game Alabama has had so far. They had a very controversial call go against them last week. There was a big difference in another nail-biting loss. And, I mean, they had the ball down 5 at Arkansas a few weeks ago, despite the fact Matt Corral had already thrown 6 interceptions. So they've had some tough losses, but this is just what the doctor ordered. Let's go play some Vanderbilt. And although Vandy looked pretty good in a spread covering and narrow loss at A&M in week 1. Since then, they've been absolutely blasted at home by identical scores of 41-7 by LSU and South Carolina. And I love Derek Mason and all, but this is definitely his worst team he's had. And I don't think they'll be within double digits of any SEC team the rest of the year. I think Ole Miss wins by 21 or more.
And our second game, we'll look at Arkansas and Texas A&M. Both teams were off last week, so each team benefited by the bye week. Texas A&M, a 12-point favorite here. The Aggies have won consecutive games since their loss to Alabama. They beat Florida and Mississippi State. Meanwhile, for Arkansas, they've been a pleasant surprise. 4-0 against the spread so far, 2-2 straight up. And they hung with Georgia in the opener. They lost a heartbreaker to Auburn. So this Arkansas team, Brian, again, getting value as an underdog.
Absolutely. I like the double-digit underdog here. Sam Pittman, I mean, what a job. You talk about a quick turnaround here. And I think it started with masterful coordinator hires. Defensive coordinator Barry Odom, the former head coach at Missouri, and the OC Kendall Briles. Both have done outstanding jobs. In my mind, they're really 3-1 straight up. They got robbed at Auburn. Man, Auburn's catching some lucky breaks from the officials multiple times this year. But, that last-second field goal Auburn got to win 30-28 was nonsense. It should have been Arkansas's ball. And really, you look back on the Georgia game, Arkansas led at halftime. Talking about the opener here, and Georgia did not take its first lead of that game until midway through the third quarter. Felipe Franks is playing solid football. He's completing 64.1% of his passes. He's got an 8-3 TDI-INT ratio. I think this is going to be a tight game for 4 quarters. Now, if I had to pick it outright, I would say Texas A&M wins a close one, but I'll take the Hogs plus 12.5.
And the final pick, you have been on the Alabama first half bandwagon this year, and it's worked. I definitely can't blame you on that. Alabama crushed Tennessee last week. Alabama taking on Mississippi State this week. And Mike Leach's Bulldogs, it looked good after week 1, but since then it's been a bit of a disaster. And Nick Saban's Crimson Tide right now a 19-point favorite in the first half.
Yeah, and more bad news out of Starkville. Kylan Hill, the 4th-team All-American running back, 1st-team All-SEC last year, who I believe had 15 catches against LSU for like $160 or so. Apparently, now he had been suspended, and there were reports that now he's decided to opt out. And I think they've got some other injuries as well, but Mike Leach doesn't discuss injuries ever. But anyhow, this is more about Alabama. Yeah, they lost Jalen Waddle, but they're loaded at wide receiver anyway. And, you know, kind of like I explained last week, you kind of worry about the back door betting them for the game. But I think in the first half, you're good. Minus 19 is the line I saw. Look, if they have a team total in the first half that's 28 or fewer, get on the over there. But we can't make that an official play because those numbers aren't out yet. But I think Alabama leads by 21 or more at half, and I think they score probably 31 or more in the first half. So if that team total first half over catches your eye later in the week at 28 or fewer, I'll endorse that as well. Alabama will win big, but I'd be a little careful going minus 32 for the game because their defense is not a little hit or miss, but the first half, like it.
So to recap Brian's picks for this Saturday in the SEC, he's laying the points with Ole Miss at Vanderbilt. He's taking the points with Arkansas against Texas A&M, and he's going to lay the first half number with Alabama against Mississippi State. Brian, 13-4 so far on these videos this season. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel here at Vegas Insider. Also check out our NFL contest picks for Week 8, as well as our Sunday night and Monday night previews as well. For Brian Edwards, I'm Kevin Rogers. Thanks for watching, and best of luck with your bets.